Dogecoin, but I still remember when all the creators got on Dogecoin, they started not promoting it, but well, I guess promoting it technically, just talking about it is some form of promotion, and everybody started putting into it. And I remember like the day right after everyone stopped talking about it, after they all cashed out, that shit dropped immediately.
Yep.
All right, well, we can pretty much get started now. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Med Podcast. Apologies for not recording something and posting last weekend. We didn't really have anything good to talk about, but there's been some stuff happening this week, as well as some personal interest stuff that we want to kind of get into. So as again, welcome back to the Med Podcast. I'm here with your hosts, Macy, David, and me, myself, Edward.
Man, buddy has no energy.
I mean, it is the morning, bro. Come on now.
All right.
I'm tired. My nose is scuffed. I mean, I don't hear you being the beam of energy. Come on now.
Okay, but I'm like sick.
Okay, but I'm also sick, so like mildly sick. Anyways, so we do have some nail-biting topics for all of you. I don't know if you want to introduce our topics now and then get into it or what, but I'm going to talk about Omegle being shut down, pretty much why it was shut down. Well, I don't know the whole logistics of it, pretty much just the creator got hate because of certain people and aspects on the internet, and you know, obviously after pandemic it got worse, but we'll get into that. And then David, what is your topic?
My topic is on how the fuck do you say this word?
Entrepreneurship?
Yes, entrepreneurs who made it with their companies and my idea for business.
Interesting.
Turning this bitch into Shark Tank.
There you go. And Macy?
We're not investors. We are also not financial advisors, which is a great segue into my topic. I just want to talk about like all of the shit coins. What are they called? The meme coins? I call them shit coins because they're like Bitcoin, but like kind of shit. Not actually, but right now I just saw on Twitter that Dogecoin is going back up again, and it just reminded me of like when it was really prevalent. So I want to talk about all of those fun little meme coins. What is it called? Cryptocurrency? Not financial advisors. No, I'm not giving any advice. I'm just being nostalgic.
And that bitch is up.
And talking like about shit. No.
Wow,
Yeah.
It went from 5 cents to 8 cents. Hog.
Hoggies. There you go. All right. Who wants to go first?
It should definitely be one of you two.
It should be
obviously.
the most interesting one, right? The one that's the title card.
I mean, they're both, the first two are going to be on the title card, but I guess I'll go first since Omegle is kind of happening right now. So Omegle, unfortunately, has shut down. Now I say unfortunately, and this is coming from like a content creator standpoint, because I know there was a lot of people on TikTok, on YouTube, you know, I don't want to say reels because we don't acknowledge Instagram reels, but reelers, Snapchat, what, all the fucking content creators, God.
Oh, no.
There was a lot of them, you know, you'll probably scroll past a couple of videos seeing somebody dressed up. I know the most recent one I saw was like a Michael Myers costume in front of a piano just on Omegle, just meeting new people. And I mean, that was basically their content. Like it was just them recording reactions to people who didn't expect them to be talented, I guess, shit like that. And apparently, I think Omegle actually closed a couple of days ago, but the creator came out saying that I think he received a bunch of hate recently, and I don't know if it's recent. I think it's been a while, but as of recent, he couldn't take it anymore. It was pretty much just hate for the platform, asking and saying why was Omegle a thing. Now, I wasn't really into Omegle when I was younger. I know the service came out in 2009, so this service has been around a while, like I think 14 years. And it's been very notorious for having not only, you know, children, content creators, but also, you know, pedophiles, sex offenders, you know what I'm saying? A lot of people who aren't afraid to show themselves on the internet, exposure wise, if you know what I mean. But, you know, apparently when COVID happened, you know, everybody was at home. I think the viewership or not viewership, but how many people were registered on Omegle. I think the amount of users, it went up drastically. Like I think the same with TikTok. Everybody was just home doing nothing. So it was a way for them to, you know, obviously meet people and communicate with others without having to go outside. Now, I'm sure you can see how somebody who has malicious intent could find a way like this to use it for very nefarious plans to not only, you know, spread hate, however you categorize that, but do very, very suspicious things. And I guess I just wanted to get y'all's opinion on it. I know I'm probably going to ramble on for the next 5 minutes, so I'm just going to stop myself right here and sort of just ask you guys, you know, obviously knowing that Omegle is a place for people to communicate, to interact, especially on camera, do you think it deserved all the hate that it got, mainly because of the people who made it bad for everyone else?
Well, that's a loaded and ethical question, because as a website or as an idea, no, it shouldn't have gotten hate. But to the point that we were in now, everyone knows every 5 clicks you had to skip, there'd be a dick. Like, easily.
For sure.
Yeah.
So it getting forced to shut down by a lawsuit from a sexual abuse survivor, because of the misuse of the platform, sexual abuse of minors allegedly. Because it's like, I personally cannot understand why people are naked in front of a camera and waiting for people to show up. Like, that's weird. Like, that's borderline, like not even just creepy. That's just like,
It's not even borderline, bro. It is.
no, that's like mental, I guess. Like, it's,
They just have something wrong with them.
should the site have shut down? No. It was a funny site. A lot of YouTubers, like you said, made a lot of content off it. Like a specific YouTuber called The Do. One of my favorites when I was growing up. He's a musical content creator as well, and he would go on there and like play song requests, and then every so often on his videos he would show a guy naked, but he would blur it out so you couldn't see anything, and he would just scream and then hit skip. And it was funny, but like now seeing this as it's like all coming up to light, I guess, like an actual like legitimate like shutdown, you could definitely see why it needed a shutdown.
I mean,
Yeah.
you have to remember that like it operated like that, and you know, it's just unfortunate that it was like that to begin with. But the internet, first off, we all know, is very scary, and it can be a terrible, horrific place. Like, there are a lot of suspicious characters on the internet, and Omegle being just one of those platforms that allows people to be on camera and sort of do shit. And sort of to directly quote the owner, it was sort of the way that he saw it was there was a bunch of, you know, fiber optics cables and a screen that was basically separating somebody like that from you. So there was really no, what was it, fear that somebody like that would find you. But regardless, just to have those kind of characters on there, you know, you're going to come across not just people who show their dicks, but I think most recently the one that I saw was people like supporting Nazis. Like, there was just saluting Nazis, which I think is funny as fuck. Did you want to say anything, Macy, about this?
I mean, I don't know what the fuck you just went into, but I feel like the site definitely, obviously, you know, it should have had more, like, I don't know how necessarily the restrictions would have been imposed. If it would be like, you know, having like moderators or something, or like having to prove you're a certain age, or, you know, that kind of shit, and then being able to like permanently ban somebody. But kind of similar to how like a lot of other social media content is moderated. It obviously, like, it posed a danger to certain like users, but I don't think it was, as David said, like the fault of the site. The site had funny stuff. Like, I just realized, and that's why I was like, I was looking up the channel for one of my like more recent like creators that I enjoy that goes on Omegle, and it's like people who catfish people on Omegle, like dressing up as like an e-girl and then being like, I'm a Russian man. Shout out to that content creator that I don't remember the name of. I don't know. Like, yeah, it got to a point that it needed to be shut down, but I'm hoping that like it shutting down doesn't mean that like nothing like it will ever come about again. I'm hoping that, you know, they'll come up with a new version that's like better to moderate, I guess, that like you don't have as many of these issues. Granted, you can't get rid of them all across the board, but you know what I mean?
You brought up, first off, like you brought up a good argument about, you know, sort of security, how someone would implement that. And just to directly quote, just so I don't, you know, fuck it up, but the owner pretty much said he believes in the responsibility to be a good Samaritan and to implement reasonable measures to fight crimes and other misuse, which is usually what they tried to do on Omegle. And this was just in addition to basic safety features of anonymity. There was also a great deal of moderation behind the scene, including state-of-the-art AI operating in concert with a wonderful team of human moderators. So, I mean, it sort of just tells you, first off, you know, if they have all these, we'll just say basic safety stuff in place right now without, you know, sort of jeopardizing the identity of the person who's using it. If they sort of just have all these basic safety features, it kind of goes to show just if they're removing a bunch of people, how many other people sort of just come on there just to show their dick and spread hate and shit like that. It's wild to me that there are a lot of people like that. Like I can't even imagine. I'm pretty sure I could probably search it up, but I can't imagine the actual number and statistics of how many people they banned just from reports alone from other users of them doing dumb shit like that.
Yeah. I didn't realize they had those kinds of features. If that was in place and all of this was still happening, then yeah, I don't know how they would fix it. I would love to see it like come back and be safer, but unless it's like you have to like connect accounts or whatever that can prove that you're a certain age, and then, you know, like again, you know, just holding people accountable, and if they're reporting and they're moderating all of this shit already and so much slipping through the cracks, I don't know how they would have to improve that, but they would certainly have to. It's unfortunate, but like it's, you know, you said, David, that it was the result of a lawsuit from somebody who had been like abused on the site.
I don't know if it's on the site. I haven't read fully into it. But there's like 50 lawsuits over the last couple years. I think the most recent one was an 11-year-old was set up to chat with a sexual predator.
Why the fuck was the 11-year-old on there, bro?
I mean, it's the internet, and you can't really stop your kids from getting on the internet anymore.
Yeah, it's fair.
So it's definitely it's a great site, funny site, but of course, like in life, there will be people to ruin something. Like you have Black Lives Matter, and people ruined it. Like it was a good movement, and then they ruined it. You have fucking like, I'm pretty sure someone could ruin bread. Like, well, I actually have they charcoaled that shit to make it look black. And like,
what are you talking about?
I was just thinking about something I saw on Gordon Ramsay's channel, but no, like what I'm trying to say is that things are made for a reason, whether they're good or bad. And if they're good, in time it'll be ruined by the people that are using it. If it's made for bad reasons, it's already there.
Yeah. No matter what you do, everybody's still gonna try and fuck it up.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, you also brought up the argument, David, of, you know, obviously the most recent lawsuit being an 11-year-old. That also brings up the whole argument of should they be allowed on the internet? Like, I'm not saying that they should be completely restricted, but a service like Omegle, which can connect, you know, you to somebody else within the world. I mean, it's pretty much like the owner said, like, you have to believe that there are good Samaritans on the website who aren't going to do dumb shit like show their dicks or spread Nazism. But, you know, somebody like you and I being over the age of fucking 18 plus versus somebody who's 11 years old, like, I guess it sort of brings up the argument, do you think there should be more restrictions on the internet for somebody who's under the age of 18? just to avoid shit like that.
That's always been a thing, but no one can really enforce that.
Yeah. I mean, the internet, you know, obviously has given access people to everything, but it's also sort of given everything access to them, which is sort of the scary aspect of the internet. And just to kind of follow up with what you said, Macy, about there being something else that comes after Omegle, I think without a doubt that there is going to be a service that comes after that. Like, I think somebody will either create something, and that's not to say, you know, Omegle won't come back. You know, they I don't know if the owner is going to reactivate it further down the line, sort of have like a second heart at it, but I'm sure somebody's going to create a site that's going to be almost identical to what Omegle is. And I think it's just going to be an opportunity, it being new. You know, who's to say that they're going to have even any restrictions to begin with? I think they'll have basic. I don't know if it'll be as sophisticated as Omegle's, but I think it'll be basic enough safety features where it's not going to, I guess, assist, if that makes sense. It's not going to be any better than Omegle, as there's really no way to keep evildoers, quote unquote, off of the internet. There's just no way to do it.
I think, I hate to say it because obviously like nobody wants it to be this way, but I honestly think like a paywall might prevent more of like the minors kind of issue, because I mean, where are they getting that money besides their parents? And their parents can see at least if money's taken from their account versus like just a site they're visiting. So maybe that's just because I was thinking about like, obviously, you know, like porn stuff is like, it's available, but like when you have the like OnlyFans, for example, like it's behind a paywall, so it's like less likely to have those kinds of issues potentially. So like maybe that, I don't know. I just like am sitting here like, how can they fix it? Because I would love to see it become less of like a hazard on the internet. It's like I didn't really use it much when I was a kid. Like I went on it like a few times on the chat version, not the video version, and just kind of like never actually responded to anybody. Like maybe 3 or 4 times or something, but I did like watch a lot of the videos about it and stuff like that. So I love the idea. I think it's fun, but maybe that would be,
I mean,
who knows?
Mention like a paywall. There's really no saying if a paywall will stop children. Like you said, like they'll just take their parents' credit card information. I mean, even if they can see the payment, I'm sure the parents either won't care or they'll get suspicious only enough to ask their child what it's about, and that's it. I don't think they'll go to the extent unless they're very overbearing or protective of that child. Now, you know, obviously, I don't want to say
maybe
there
all the
should be
priests will just flock to Roblox.
I mean, once the 17 plus experience comes out, who knows? But I mean,
this shit.
There you go. I mean, it's pretty much, I guess, the same, just like Roblox. Like, yes, they're two different platforms, but with Roblox instituting something that's supposed to be for, you know, 17 plus experience for adults, young adults to go on that website with the intention of dating. I mean, who's to say that an adult from Omegle who just shows their dick won't go on fucking Roblox? And I mean, now they have, you know, voice chat, but they're going to implement video chat as well, which I think is very dangerous.
That's terrible.
Like that is just a lawsuit waiting to happen, I guess.
Yeah. Do you remember how is Roblox supposedly like age checking people?
Well, you have to provide, no, they are, David, you have to provide verification of ID to even enable voice chat. At least that's what it was before. I don't know if you can just enable voice chat now, but there's an age verification page on your settings in Roblox that you can upload valid ID to have certain features enabled, which I think are 17 plus and older. Which I think, you know, 17 is still fucked. Like, I hate that they're using 17 plus. Just go up to 18, you know?
I agree.
Like, that's very stupid. Now, I did just want to bring this up because Omegle has had some real world cases where they've gotten people sent to jail. And I will just quote this directly. Omegle's moderation even had a positive impact beyond the website, which meant that they had the capability of working with law enforcement agencies and National Center for Missing and Exploited Children to help prevent evildoers and put them into prison where they belong. So there are people, you know, who quote unquote are rotting behind bars right now, which just, I guess, shows evidence that Omegle, like, proactively is collectively against them, and they tip the authority off. So I mean, I don't really know how their report system works, but if there's been real cases of people, you know, evildoers, quote unquote, doing dumb shit like that, going to jail, I think whatever system they had in place was working. I don't know if it had the opportunity to show how advanced it could get, considering, you know, it brings up the whole argument, how can you implement more restrictions and rules without jeopardizing the anonymity of the person using it? You know what I'm saying? Because once you have to verify valid ID, who's to say some hacker can't just go on there and find that? Like, who's to say they can't just find that ID, know your full name, your address, date of birth, shit like that? I mean, the internet's a scary place. Like, it is absolutely terrifying. And I mean, you don't even have to, you know, show valid ID or go on sites like Omegle. Like, something like YouTube, for example. I'm sure we could find on, you know, Reddit, any subreddit related to people, small creators just coming out. They're, you know, you'll usually see a post every now and then of people saying that they got their first hate comment, or they got their first comment of somebody who's just so fucking weird. Like, somebody who will just comment just to comment. And it mostly happens to girls, and I think we all know for obvious reasons. People are horny. There are weird fucking guys out there that just want to, you know, they found a small creator who's a girl. They want to be that one sort of, oh, they know my name type shit. Once they get famous, I'll be the first supporter. But I don't know. Shit like that, it makes me cringe. And, you know, obviously I'm not a girl, but I can't even start to think about if somebody on my channel just started saying some creepy ass shit on every single video of mine. Like, that would just be weird.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's evildoers everywhere on the internet, you know?
Here's the question. Technically, I don't know how the laws of the internet work. I don't know how any of that shit works, but technically, via the First Amendment, they can really say whatever they want, and as long as it's not like a possible crime or threat.
I mean, yeah. Like, I think there was an argument back then. I don't remember what law was they were trying to pass. I think one of the great examples was what happened, I think, with the congressional hearing that TikTok had about, you know, people sort of saying whatever they wanted, about posting whatever they wanted. And I think they were just using the fact that, first off, the company was obviously a Chinese company, even though it was set in the US, I think. But they were sort of using, if I remember correctly, some posts that said dumb, malicious shit, like, oh, you know, just for the sake of dark humor, 9/11 was funny or shit like that. Like, just any form of dark humor post, people can take that and say, wow, this platform is bad. Like, it is absolutely bad. Nobody should go on it. And I mean, people have the freedom of speech, quote unquote, I guess, whenever it comes to the internet. And I think it's because they have that anonymity, like, nobody knows who they are, which is the whole meme of digital footprint. But I think to some degree, and I'll probably get hate for this, there should be some restriction, which I think is what net neutrality, that law that was being passed long ago, was supposed to implement. But, you know, it was fucked anyways. I don't think they were going to make it exactly the way, because how do you really restrict the internet, you know? Like, how do you do that? You can't. But, I mean, with the way the world is now, unfortunately, everybody, you know, I think the owner of Omegle was right. Everybody is more quick to judge nowadays. It's more of they're not really looking at, I guess, the grand scheme of things when it comes to protection wise, at least in their case. They're not looking at how it could improve, only that there were evildoers. They show their dick to little kids. The website needs to be stopped and needs to go away. Like, it has no positive impact on anybody. That's it. Okay, well, we hit our 20-minute timer. So, did anyone else have anything they wanted to say on the topic?
Nah.
No, I mean, it's sad, but I think, as we've kind of made a point of, it's necessary for now. Just hope it figures itself out.
Yeah, I'm sure also, you know, the content creators, like, I feel bad for them, but I'm sure they'll find some way else to make their content.
Yeah. Just like the Nintendo shit, like it's just another hurdle.
Alrighty, so with that being said, then we'll go ahead and move on. I'll go ahead and reset the timer, and then I think David wants to go last. So
remembered like a funny joke as it pertains to your topic that I've been seeing circulate, and then I'll be done. But it just has been like this is Omegle closing is the 9/11 for peace, you know. Yeah.
Christ.
Come on, David.
Not a really funny
no
joke,
energy,
but I've seen it like a fucking gazillion times.
To be fair, like she also cut out, so I didn't hear most of the joke. If it was a joke,
I mean, I didn't cut out. I just didn't say the word at the end.
Yeah, come on, dude.
oh, Jesus, bro.
That's just a like meme that I have seen circulating that I had no context for because I did not know that Omegle was shutting down.
But he's clapping because he can't just holler IRL.
Right.
Low energy, by the way. Low energy.
Low energy, by the way.
Come on,
Alright, Macy,
that was
go
a
ahead.
funny joke. What was that?
Yeah. So, are we talking about
we're
my
talking.
topic now?
Yeah.
Okay. So, my topic that I wanted to bring in today was I just wanted to like reminisce. I know both of you probably know a little bit more about it than I do, about like all of the Bitcoin and not the Bitcoins, but like the meme coins in particular, because as I said, I saw that Doge was on the rise when I was kind of prepping for this and checking Twitter just to see if there was anything like interesting to try to work with. I'm trying to find my Cash App so I can see was Steven available on Cash App? Doge?
I don't think it is. I think people will use Robinhood for Dogecoin.
I don't have
And
that.
Weeble.
Yeah, and Weeble.
Oh well. Anyway, stocks.
Stonks.
Doge. No Doge. Well, I no longer have any information because I don't feel like finding it on Twitter. But
Okay.
yeah, I'm looking
damn.
it up right now. I'm just lying.
Unprepared.
Oh, take your time. Take your time. Take your.
Thank
There
you.
we go. Well, while we wait for you, then I'll go ahead and I guess I'll bring up a separate argument that I guess I wanted to discuss as well.
Okay, I just got it, but go ahead.
Oh no, go ahead. Never mind. Go ahead.
I just kind of,
Yeah,
So,
sure,
yeah.
Edward.
Yeah.
It didn't take long. It was just loading the search bar. So yeah, right now Doge is at like 8 cents, and that doesn't seem like much, but if you both remember when Doge was kind of like made, I know I like made, okay, preface before I actually start talking. Not financial advisors. No way whatsoever am I like advising to anybody listening to this podcast that anything that I say like worked well or didn't work well for me will work the same for you. Do not take anything I say. It's all anecdotal and it is not at all supposed to inform your financial decisions. Don't listen to me about money. I'm really bad at it. Anyway, if you remember like when Doge first came out, I know I invested like $1,000 into it, which was kind of crazy looking back. Like I don't know why I did that. And I invested like when it was in like a few zeros, like sub 1 cent. And I remember it went up to like 5 cents or whatever. And I didn't sell because I could have done like a lot of money. And then ultimately it went back to about where I had bought it. And I just sold so that I could get out of Robinhood since there was all like that controversy about the app and I just wanted to be like away from it. So ultimately I made like maybe $10 on Doge. But yeah, just like a fun little thought. I don't know if you're still actively involved, David. I know Eddie, like you still keep an eye on stocks, but you're not as like, and this is kind of like a stocks and Bitcoin, not for financial like discussion, but like just for like just chatting about it. It's something that's always evaded me, understanding stocks, how all that kind of stuff works. Even though I've always wanted to get it, it just like, no matter how many times Eddie explained it to me, it never really wrapped around my head of like, what the fuck are you talking about? thing. Crypto was the closest thing I ever got like close to understanding, but I still don't think I actually get it.
Well, before David starts talking, because I know he loves stocks, Macy, why didn't you mention you selling right before it skyrocketed?
Oh yeah,
why didn't you say
I
that?
meant to say that it went up. I didn't sell. It went back down. I sold, and then it skyrocketed to like 50 cents
Yeah.
or whatever. It skyrocketed a lot. Like we could have had like a lot of money.
She invested at 6 cents and sold before that shit went to damn near 60 cents. We could have been millionaires. No, she got cold feet before we went to bed. One night we woke up and that bitch was high as fuck. Like
that is paper hands right there.
That is literally paper hands. Like you got to hold the fucking line, bro. Like you got to be an ape. Like I don't know why.
Because I didn't want to be on Robinhood anymore. I didn't want to be on like there was that whole thing coming about how it was like terrible and everybody should stop using it.
I would have been mad as fuck.
No, I trust me. We had a long ass talk. Couldn't talk to her for about a week.
That is not true, but
that's how
Christ. Yeah.
At the end of the day, any money not earned is just like, you know, it's not that you just like missed out on it. Like you just didn't. It's fine. You know, if I had lost money, I would be mad. I made like $15. So
okay, well, to provide context, right? This all happened in 2021, which was around the time that COVID happened. And now, David, I don't know if you remember exactly what was happening there, but you have to remember that before Dogecoin spiked, not only was, you know, YouTubers like I think KSI, it was the only one I vividly remember. I think it was also Logan Paul, probably Mr. Beast, maybe. I take that with like a grain of salt, but Elon Musk was tweeting about it. You knew that shit was gonna fly up, and Macy sold. Like, no, I'm getting heated just thinking about it, my brother.
Yeah, like, oh my god.
We could have had a lot of money, but it's fine because we're still happy. We're still living. We're doing okay.
It's not fine, bro. Like, bro, David, if we got rich that day, trust me, you would not have heard from us. On me, like, you would have been gone. Would have been gone.
See, there's the benefit. You know, we were still holding all the friends. We're making this podcast.
No, bro, I don't give a fuck about that shit. Come on now. Like, we would have been.
This podcast is really
rolling.
important.
Really important? We didn't even record last week.
Because we were doing other stuff. We were celebrating getting subscribers. Welcome, everybody. We're very happy to have you.
Welcome, guys, to our 2 new subscribers.
Compelling shit this week.
Killing it, bro. Killing it. David, where's that new shirt, by the way?
Undershirt. Oh,
Thank you,
short.
sir.
Oh.
This guy.
I was going to make a community post, too.
Anyways, hey guys, thank you for the 2 people that subscribed to the Med podcast. We're so glad you guys decided to join us on our journey. Hopefully, do we get another one?
We're at 6.
Yeah, we were at 4.
Who's our 4th?
Probably one of my like 8 alternate accounts that I subscribed with, and it just decided to not count.
Norway.
All right, well, let's not talk about fudging the numbers because that doesn't matter. But thank you.
I mean, it's not fudging the numbers. They're just all the accounts I use.
Who subscribed. Thank you to the 2 people who subscribed to our channel. We're so happy you decided again to join us on our journey. Hopefully, you listen to this one fully through and through, and you hear us give you a shout out in the middle of the fucking episode. But, anyways, Macy, you can go ahead and continue.
Yeah. Not talking in general about like how it works because I feel like that just is really like way too close to financial advice, but any like fun little experiences, you know, like anything with it. What were the other like not stupid, but like the other meme coins? I don't remember the rest of them, but there were a few that like we all kind of like looked at like, is this gonna be the one?
I mean, after that,
shitcoin.
Yeah, after that, it was nothing but fucking shitcoins. It was, first off, I think Shiba Inu was another one that people speculated.
Well, that's what people on Twitter are saying. That one's going up too.
Wasn't there a Jesus coin?
Yeah, there was. I love Jesus coin, bro. Jesus, like, first off, don't invest in Jesus coin. You know, audience, if you're hearing this far, do not invest in Jesus coin. But I love the name of it, and obviously, we can't talk about, you know, shit coins without giving a quick shout out, which is unofficial. where I'm not actually going to shout them out, but without giving an unofficial shout out to Squid Game coin, which I'm sure we talked about this off camera at some point, but Squid Game coin was one of them who was obviously named after the fucking show Squid Games. And just so I quote this, and just before I get into the quote, get right into it, they were basically a coin that was, and this is another reason why shit coins are so fucking stupid, because anybody can make them. It doesn't matter if there's actual liquidity or not in the fucking coin. But
Yeah.
Squid Game coin is one that went from, I think, 1 penny, I think even less than that, to over $1,000 in the blink of an eye. And whoever invested into that, obviously they became like millionaires instantly. And unfortunately, like any shitcoin, without liquidity, you can't actually sell. So if there's no movement, you basically have $1 billion, yes, but you can't put it into your bank account. Now, everybody who invested in Squid Game coin, obviously it was hundreds of dollars. The owner of Squid Game coin not only pumped it up, he took all that money away at the peak. And then it came crashing, which, is what's called a rug pull. Like, I don't know. I guess it's sort of exactly what it sounds like. It's sort of you decide to invest into something, and then somebody pulls the rug out of you, like under you, and then you just get fucked. Like all your money vanished in an instant. Now, I'm going to try to find an article exactly that explains it, because that was a loosely based explanation, if I remember correctly, but you can go ahead.
Who?
You. I didn't know if you were going to start talking, Macy.
Oh, no, I was
All right,
just
well,
responding.
I haven't given my opinion on this, so I'll go.
Go ahead.
I am still investing, technically. Macy pointed that out. I am a shareholder of Uber. I am not investing that much, as I'm currently not working, but I'm going to be working soon. It's a very slippery slope. Just by itself, buying and selling is difficult, but when you add contracts to it, that's a lot harder. I don't know how Edward did it. Cryptocurrency, it's fun, it's cool, it's hip with all the new kids. It was something fun to try out. I made some money off of it. My biggest regret is my first experience with stocks. I too had paper hands. There was this marijuana company that I invested in that was at like $2. It went up to like $4. I kept it, like I did not want to sell, and then it went down to $1, and I was so fucking sad. I sold. 1 year later, it was up to $12. I could have been up almost $3,000 with how much money I had invested. So it's tough, but you learn.
Yeah, I'm still holding on GameStop. I hope you guys know that. I'm down like $60.
We don't have a choice. We don't have a choice, which is another argument that we can make about that, is that, and obviously I feel like we have to create the distinction of shitcoin to actual stock, like crypto in general.
Yeah.
And the reason why people love cryptos and shitcoins, which I say love very loosely, is because of how quick it goes up and down. Like that shit isn't as consistent as stocks are. I mean, yes, stocks go up and down, I guess, fairly quickly as well, but they don't go as quick as cryptos do. Like they will drop immediately. And I basically found an article, by the way, for the Squid Game thing, which apparently was sort of the focus, I think. I don't remember if he did anything about it, but the focus the article talks about is somebody named Luke Hartford, which this is from The Wire. Shout out to The Wire, by the way. But he pretty much said that he saw that there was basically an up-and-coming fucking coin out of nowhere, which was the Squid Game coin, which I feel like I should say is not affiliated with the fucking, Squid Games on Netflix. But he bought $300 because, obviously he saw that it was going up. Obviously it was coming up from nothing. So you think as time goes on, everything, quote unquote, sort of goes up, just as a stock market. But he bought $300 worth of Squid Game coin, right? It was worth around 90 cents, and he just sat back and just prayed, right? That's pretty much all we do, Now, it crossed $1, which earned him back 10% return on his investment, then 2, then 3. He woke up one random day, which I think was actually the next morning, and it hit $5, and his 300 had basically turned into 1.6. Like, he had $1,600, and obviously, you know, he was tripping about it. He was like, damn, I need to leave this shit in. He woke up, which this happened on October 29th. He woke up to find that the squid, which I think it's called the token, like I don't know. No, not the token, but the name of it, like the actual token name, which is like the $sign and then the hashtag, whatever the fuck it was, which was $squid. The hashtag was trending on Twitter, and people apparently were saying that they were basically struggling, or they couldn't sell their holdings of it, so they were struggling to cash out. Apparently, they had to buy what was called marbles, which they obtained through a pay-to-play game organized by the owner in order to sell the money, which sounds like a fucking scam. Yeah. So they had to buy marbles in order to do it. Now, he decided, again, his name is Hartford, he decided to buy $50 in marbles, which was on October 31st, as an experiment to see if that was a way to get his money back. Now, his initial $300 investment turned into $200,000. As the Squid Game coin, it rose up to $600 per token, pretty much meaning per stock. Like, imagine $600 per stock, and you have 5 of those. God damn. But it eventually peaked, and I was underselling it when I said I think $1,000. That shit hit $2,861 per token. Like, imagine waking up to basically over $1 million, or just short of it. Apparently, he was just short of $1 million, but obviously with no liquidity, he couldn't sell. So just after apparently 1:38 p.m. on November 1st, $3.36 million that was invested by Squid Game Coin, and this was from everybody, was yanked out. It was pulled from the project owners. The liquidity pool for it disappeared basically instantly. And then within 10 minutes of just that, the coin was worthless. Shit is fucking crazy.
Yeah, I'd be mad as hell.
I mean, $300, I think that was the argument people were making. It's like, why would you invest $300 into a shit coin? Like, it's, first off, that's fucking crazy. But second off, it also brings us to the argument that people who invested initially, and as it kept rising up, they just kept putting more and more, thinking that, damn, I'm gonna be rich as fuck. They lost everything. I think people invested like $10,000s, like they invested thousands and thousands of dollars into that shit and lost it immediately.
That's crazy.
I mean, that's why Dogecoin is so fucking credible, I guess. People were actually able to sell their tokens once it peaked at 60 cents. But I mean, we just had to, we're talking about shitcoins, had to give a quick shout out to Squid Game coin. Not officially, but I had to give a quick shout out to them. Anyways, Macy, you can continue with your topic.
I mean, yeah. I think it's just much more approachable too. Like, when the pandemic hit, I feel like we were all like hunting for ways to make money, right? And stocks became like a little bit more relevant. And then to like a wider audience, all these shitcoins kind of like started to appear. And it's like I said, I do not understand stocks at all. I still don't even really get shitcoins, but like it feels a little bit simpler. And I think the reason that it's so insane and it went so crazy at the time was because nobody actually like really got it, except the people who took it like really hardcore. But people like me that were just like, yeah, sure, I'll just put money in it. We were all just kind of like, trends, it's like a little slide. Everybody just started like diving in, like half of us, like you guys, like informed and actually knowing what you're talking about, and half of the people like me, like, yeah,
okay, hold on, because we are not financial advisors, David and I. Macy, you keep saying that we're well informed. We're not informed. In fact, anybody, if a hedge fund manager is listening to this podcast for whatever reason and they hear this bullshit, me and David have very amateurish experience of the stock market. It's just, I want to say, basic enough that I'm able to make money off of it, but it's not anything where I'm able to make millions off of it. So, just to put that out there, because you keep saying, y'all are well informed. And
No, when I say well informed, I don't mean like you guys are following it super well, like you're making money. I really just mean like at least from my perspective, it seems like you understand how stocks work, like at all.
No.
basically, like David was just put it in and pray, bro. Like,
Let's read. Okay, so we're on the same page.
I'm okay.
I'm
Like,
just like, I know more money equals more gain or loss. That's about as far as I've got.
David, did you want to say anything, by the way?
Not really. I'm gonna start molding if I keep talking about my experience.
You don't want to talk about the cryptos. I mean, shitcoins. I mean, we pretty much already discussed like why people are so invested into them because of how quickly they can grow. I'm trying to think of what another shitcoin is. I know Shiba Inu was a big one, and then obviously we also have to give a shout out to Wall Street Bets. You know, we're talking about trending.
Bro, that was a whole thing.
GameStop.
You
Weren't they
wanna talk about
like
a crypto?
hedging against us? So whenever something got posted on Wall Street Bets that like
How much does it cost right now?
Wall Street would like do the opposite to like fuck over.
Well, I mean, that's what they did with GameStop. And, you know, me and David and Pringle, shout out to Pringle, we did a video, which was on my channel, shout out to the channel, by the way, that we called GameStop to ask how we can get stock for them. And, I mean, this was during the whole time when they were trying to basically crash GameStop. They wanted to make the company go bankrupt. And I think, you know, obviously, as I was learning the stocks, you can put what's called put options on stock. So if it's going down, you're still making money off of it. Now, the difference is I think Wall Street, and you know, obviously this is poorly explained, so just a heads up, Wall Street was trying to basically not crash the stock, but basically bring it to the point where GameStop was basically going to go bankrupt. Like they were already closing businesses, but Wall Street Bets saw this. The people on there, they were like, damn, like GameStop is just a part of our childhood. We love GameStop. So how about we all collectively agree to just put money, pump it the fuck up, and basically get to a point where GameStop isn't, you know, they're not going to go bankrupt type shit. So it went up, I think, if I remember correctly, to maybe $300 or $400 per stock. And I just want to say, like, I wish I had invested in the beginning. And even though, you know, people who invested at like $1 and then that shit went up to $400, unfortunately, the brokerage app that people were using was Robinhood. Now, it wasn't just Robinhood that this was happening, and I'm pretty sure all of you knew. David, you probably knew it because you invested as well. But Robinhood was restricting, like they restricted the trade options for the stock. I don't think that they were legally allowed to do that, and they were sued for it. Like everybody lost trust in Robinhood after that, and they did the same thing with AMC. AMC was the exact same thing. That's just stuff. Anyways, David, what did you want to say? We have about a minute left, so
shit.
You better
I was
explain
gonna
quick.
bring up the fucking big ass godmother of all fucking cryptocurrency, Bitcoin. Bitcoin is a fucking bitch. Literally 1 year ago, it was at how much? 16,000, and now it's at 37,000. It's been fluctuating like Florida's weather. This shit is unpredictable, and people that say they can predict it are liars.
I mean, like, didn't it peak at 70,000 or was it 60?
I have no fucking idea. It peaked at 61,000.
Damn. Like that, first off, that's a lot of money, especially since people said that Bitcoin wasn't gonna go up. But you have to remember that crypto like Bitcoin, Ethereum, back when they actually had like miners for them, and not like children miners, but you know, GPU miners, that they were basically making it by fuck. How do I explain this? It was basically detrimental to the environment. There was so much mining facilities, and I honestly don't remember how. Like, I don't know how it's detrimental to the environment. It's probably because of all like it overworking electricity, and I think some of them burned out, causing smokes or whatever the fuck. I honestly don't know. Some way, somehow, it was detrimental to the environment. So naturally, climate activists were like, nope, this shit needs to fucking go. They started protesting it. Eventually, Ethereum, I think it was Ethereum, or one of these popular ones that have a bunch of miners, they released something saying that it's not going to be possible. I think they switched blockchains or some shit like that. I honestly don't know. But it basically left it virtually impossible to mine cryptos after it. which I think is pretty crazy, which I think is what caused the spike to go down. Bitcoin's just one of those that, you know, people look at it bad, and I don't know why. Like, I'm not that much of an expert.
Yep.
Yeah.
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 I can hear myself through somebody's mic. Like, whose mic was
Well, it's obvious. I don't know.
Anyways,
I'm in the living room. The door's closed, bro. Those doors are like made of steel. There's no shot.
Yeah, no, yeah, Cap. Anyway.
I mean, they're not actually made of steel, but
All right, so David, let's just use you, buddy.
All right. So my topic is short but sweet. I don't really plan on taking the whole 20 minutes. This is more of like not dream, an idea that I had a couple months ago, maybe even longer. I had a failsafe for, I guess, at the end of my career, which kind of got taken away from me when I lost my citizenship to Spain. When I retire, I planned on moving to Spain and opening up a trading card shop for like D&D, trading card games, anime, comics. And that's been an idea I've had for a while. One of my friends, my topic is essentially entrepreneurs who've made it with their company, and are the CEOs of their company and are making a lot of money. My friend, Joey Bauer, he's the CEO and founder of Southside Supply. Shout out. He makes a lot of money to the point where he can spend like a shit ton of money on like trading cards, grade them, and then sell them for even more money. He's at a point where he now has merchandise for his company, like hoodies, shirts, beanies, pants, shorts. I bought some of them because they're fire. So that is kind of like the same feeling I had when I was a kid and I wanted to be a pro gamer, like where I wanted to play League of Legends at LCS. Because imagine like being your own CEO, which I guess like is kind of fucking ironic, because if we become YouTubers, we'd technically be like our own bosses and we'd technically be making money like that. But it kind of like flipped a switch in my head where it kind of made it seem like, oh, this is important. If you want to make your dream come true, you should probably work harder on YouTube. If you want to make your dream come true, you should probably start making the steps into going at it. So I have a question for you guys. If I guess like I wouldn't even know how to phrase this. Maybe if you could make a company like your own, what would it be?
First, I just want to say I don't think we're sponsored, but shout out to your friend. You definitely gave his ass a hefty ass shout out, and if this video was viral, I better get that paycheck cut. You feel me? But
there we go.
I mean, I already like I told you before, the YouTube channel that I have, shout out to Motor by the way, is basically my business. I don't know if it'll become a business, but that's the way that I look at it, and I think that's why I'm so heavy on you and Macy about stuff like this. For example, like the podcast, I don't think it has anything to do with sort of like, I know it's a startup, even if it's not, that's not how we see it. To me, that's how it is, and that's how important to me it is, and that's why I want to treat it like that. I love editing, and I just so happen to occasionally like playing games, so it was a no-brainer to start a YouTube channel. But you know, if it becomes big or anything like that where I start making money off of it, I'm happy like about it. If I can become sustainable from it, I would more than gladly do it full-time and be sort of my boss, like you said. But I just, at the end of the day, just want to make people laugh. Like, that's all I care about. I don't care if it becomes big or not. You know, obviously, as disheartening as that sounds, because I do want to do it full time, if it doesn't become big, I'm not gonna, you know, kill anybody. I'm not gonna go on a rampage or shit like that. It does stress me out because I want to improve. Like, I do want to improve on my content, regardless of what it is, to make it better. I guess in a company aspect, it's just to not rebrand, but make my current branding better. like just to improve it, whatever changes that needs to be. But I mean, like when me and you started YouTube, we said that we were gonna do it together. So in my head, you know, you're basically featured in almost all my videos, almost all of them, that we were gonna do it together with separate channels. I mean, first we started Play the World, shout out, and then we did separate channels. I thought we would do it together, but you sort of stopped doing it. And in my own opinion, I think it's because, and don't take this the wrong way, I don't feel like you have, I don't even know if it's the business bone, but that drive, that ambition. And I think someone like Pringle as well probably sees it, where you sort of don't prioritize anything. It doesn't feel like you do. And yeah, obviously you have your own likes and dislikes and shit like that, but when it comes to the thing, and just for the lack of a better term, like hard work, you don't seem like somebody who would put in the hard work like your friend for his business to make something. You don't seem like the person. Like, to me personally, and from what I've seen and what I know of you, you don't seem like that person. And I don't know if it's because, you know, obviously you're both raised differently or whatever it might be, but for you, like your YouTube videos, for example, and this is not to say like I think my videos are better, they seem low effort to me. Like, it's literally just you cutting and pasting gameplay. That's it. And the occasional meme jumps. But I don't know. Like, it makes me sad that it's not that we're not gonna do this journey together. I think you would still play games with me for my channel, but to not be able to watch like videos on your channel makes me sad type shit.
Okay.
It's sort of
for me,
business.
So one of the reasons why I have problems with uploading on YouTube or other things is because for me, I need a guarantee on things. I can't just blindly run into something and expect it to go well. Which is like the fear of YouTube. Like, all the time that we put in, and then what happens if it doesn't, like, what happens if we don't explode? What happens if we put all this time into it, and like I'm sure things will come from it, but it's just that, like, that blind faith of like hopefully with all the effort I put in, I'll get something out of it. Which you could argue like, oh, like, you have subscribers, even if it's 50, like, you have people that watch your videos. Like, half of those are probably my friends, but that don't even watch my videos. But that's the main reason why. Like, right now I'm busting my ass in mock trial. Because that is something that is a guarantee for my career. Like, that is something on my resume that will make me look good. YouTube on my resume does not. YouTube is, like I said, for you it's much more serious because you're like 100% into it. YouTube for me is still a hobby. YouTube for me is still like a thing that I do for fun just because of you. Like, if we weren't friends, I wouldn't do YouTube anymore.
I mean, I understand that. And sort of just to break down what you said, I think that if you go into something without a guarantee that you probably won't do it, I think that's a very stubborn, for I guess, a lack of a better term, a very stubborn and blind way to look at something like that. We both know growth is linear. Growth is constant. We know that if you put the work in, regardless of if it's a hobby or not, you don't have to be 100% into it, which I can confidently say I'm not 100% into it, but I do stress about it. And the reason I stress is because I care about it. I think as long as you care about a passion project, regardless of if it's a hobby and if you're 100% into it, you'll be critical of it. And that's the most important thing, is to be critical, especially if you're trying to build a business. You have to know what people like to some degree, if it's funny or not. I think to say that you know that mock trials are a guarantee because it's something you can put into your resume, there's nothing guaranteed in life except death, obviously. But the fact that you can say that these mock trials are going to help you in the future, to some degree they might, but you have to acknowledge that that might not be true. You might be doing all of this and amount to nothing. Like, that's a scary way to think, but it's true. I'm sure your friend probably can tell you the exact same thing, which I think is another thing that I brought up to you, by the way, which is sort of like, you get outside validation or opinions, like your friend with his business, or the girl that you met at the trial and she told you she likes your YouTube channel, and then all of a sudden you're motivated. It's like, you get motivated by that, But somebody like me, and in my eyes, I guess we're business partners type shit for different channels. You don't get motivated by me. Like I tell you, damn, like this video could be better. You don't really see it as ways to improve or even add more videos. You just, I don't really know the word. It just seems like you just stop. That's it. Like it's you rather do something else type shit.
I do want to just cut in very quickly because I have been trying to not interrupt either of you, but I just want to like add, like, this is still the podcast. I don't know, like, if you guys are comfortable with how like in depth you're discussing things.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not mad right now. I don't feel bad. David, what about you?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm chilling. I was gonna bring it up.
Yeah, like this is still recorded, right?
Because last time we didn't record because it was too personal. So like,
yeah, that's why I was.
I mean,
I also, if I could, this is just something that like I just wanted to add, and it's really quick. If you're concerned about like how the YouTube channel, like it's not guaranteed, that's true for any small business in general. Like if you wanted to open that card shop or like any kind of dream of like being your own boss means there's absolutely no guarantee. You've got to do fucking everything yourself. It's like my dad owns a business. Every single day, like if he is not on top of his own shit and working hard constantly, it could all fall apart. And even if he does, it could still all fall apart. There's just no guarantee whatsoever. We're just lucky. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like we're barely pulling out of the red the past few years because the pandemic has like made people more interested in going kayaking for some reason. But those first like 10 whatever even years, like since I was a child with Island, like we were in the red over and over and over again, just pouring more and more and more because it's like it's a passion thing for him. He'll never know, like it could just die one day, like it could be big and it's like stocks, you know, it can go up and then it can just go right back down and then you've lost everything. And that's just how it is, as opposed to like getting a cushy like part-time job. You're not responsible, you just go in, you do your job, you leave. So if that's something you genuinely feel is how you approach life, you are never going to feel confident having your own business. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I just wanted to add that because that was something that like you guys have kind of pranced around, but you haven't talked about. That it's not just YouTube. I,
as a person, am not a adventurous type. I'm a very safe person. Like I said, if there's no guarantee in something, like, or not even a guarantee, if there isn't like a big, I guess like a safety net, I might not do it because I've done many things that never went anywhere, and so it's kind of like it's very what's the term, coño, ¿cómo se dice eso?
Hey, we're bilingual now.
Not disorienting, like it makes you like demotivating, because Edward puts in the work. He's doing well with his channel, and he's like, what, have you reached 400 yet?
Yeah,
you're like
I'm at 450.
I know, it was 500. But wasn't it like reaching 500 before December?
What happened? I mean, I mean, I don't know if it's gonna hit 500. I'm gonna take a week off after just posting off enough, so there might be less growth. But right now I'm at 450, which means I possibly could hit like 500 before the end of the year. But I mean, just to, I guess while I'm already talking, just to say this, what do you think the definition of an entrepreneur is if you feel like you have to have a safety net? Like you have to be willing, and I guess not able, because technically speaking, like you don't have to be financially ready to start a business. To some degree you do, but at the same time, you have to take those financial risks, and sometimes it can lead you to become not poor, but bankrupt. And like, what do you think of actually doing in life if you're not somebody who feels like you want to take risks? Like, what do you think is going to happen in like a courtroom, for example? Like, what if you can't defend, I don't know, your client or whatever the fuck? There's no guarantee that you're going to win the case. You just say, fuck it, he goes to jail permanently. I mean, if I can't win the case, then he just goes to jail. Yeah, like there's nothing I can do. Of course, like most cases don't even go to trial. They're plea bargaining. But if I do go to trial because there is a chance that like my client didn't do something wrong and I lose, that sucks.
but that's life. Which, I mean,
Well, there you go. There's the mentality there.
I guess I wasn't realistic about it, because I guess I never saw the negative aspect of having your own business. I thought it was all like sunshines and shit. But then, like, as Macy brought up, you'll be in the red most of the time, which I've seen a lot on show like Hell's Hotel Hell with Gordon Ramsay. Like, he would go around to hotels and they'd all be fucking like breaking point.
Yeah.
Well, that's reality TV.
Bankruptcy twice.
That's reality TV. Don't get it twisted. Real life is not like you see on TV.
Yeah, for sure.
And I mean that, like I just said, of a lack of a better term, I called you stubborn. I think you're more so naive. Like, I think that's the right word for you.
As a lawyer or an attorney, that's something you definitely need to like overcome. If that's genuinely what you're planning on going into, like you need to kind of overcome at the very minimum, you know, like if you don't think you can manage like being in a courtroom and like putting yourself out there, yeah, you know, like at the end of the day, if you really didn't win, like it is what it is, like you said, but you better be putting every fucking risky like argument, literally your heart and soul, into every case and trying your best to win. You know what I mean? Like,
no, yeah, like that
there is no guarantee, but
like what I mean, like, so that's my job. Like, I'm fully aware that like I'm going to go 100% at it, or else I don't have a job. Like, that's life. But hobbies are a different thing.
You're talking about business, opening a business, but the mentality that you have going into the courtroom, like that's the same mentality you need to have when you start a business. Like, even a startup, you need to be able to tell yourself this might not amount to anything, and if it doesn't, that's okay. Like, if you invest everything into it, well, yes, it's terrifying, and to be honest, like, time is money. If you're investing all your time and, you know, actual money into something, that's why you have to be consistent with it. You have to be hard. It's like I said before, and I'm sure you can find on any motivational podcasts or video, growth is linear. It will happen if you put in the work. Like, it's scary to say that it'll guarantee, because, you know, obviously people, they'll see that, say, oh my God, like I tried to be consistent as possible, but I didn't see growth. And then let's just use like YouTube, for example. You go to their YouTube channel, like, yes, they're posting videos constantly. They're dog shit. Like, the long form videos are terrible. It's nothing but gameplay. The shorts are basically that. They're nothing. Like, it's hard to say you're consistent when you put in low effort. It needs to be good. You have to be willing to put not everything, but just enough to say that you care about this. You care to see it grow. You know that it'll take off if you put in all this work. And then if it doesn't, I wouldn't say you're wasting your time away. Like, it's still something that you can grow in the future. It's like an investment, basically. That's pretty much what it is. And then, you know, eventually it becomes so good of an investment that it makes money on its own. You don't have to worry about it.
If I'd like to draw a different analogy than YouTube too, because I feel like it can kind of bridge the gap of what we're talking about back to like. So right now, obviously, you know, your big goal, because it really is, it's just like you're setting a goal, and setting a large goal it's a risk. So setting a goal of having a business or having a successful YouTube channel, setting a goal of being a lawyer, like, it's like you said, you know, you're pouring all of this time, all of this effort into like mock trial and getting your degree. You're gonna have to pour more. You're gonna have to pour a lot of financial resources too into law school, all of that shit. And there's still like no guarantee to say that you're going to become a lawyer, that you could get, like, you could not get hired. You could just decide that's something I'm kind of in like I'm considering a lot. Like, I'm pouring my heart and soul into school in the same way that you are. I'm working on my PhD. I'm still really young. What if I realize after I put in all of this work and I do all of this insane hard work and I just don't like it, or like it's just not for me?
That's fucking
everything
terrifying.
is a risk. You're going to be going through the same thing. You know, you're progressing through your degree. You're going to go to law school. You're going to spend 10 years in college just like I am. At the end of the line, like, we could just decide we don't like it. And that's just something we have to come to terms with. The same as a business. You got to pour everything you can. And if it doesn't amount to what you expect it to, or like, even if it does, and then you just, it flops, Just like, you know, you can have a high on a stock and then it folds.
Yeah, I mean, so when I mean like, so as a person, I have safety nets. So for example, I'm gonna go to law school and I'm going to pass. Like I don't have, even though like the statistics are very low for people to pass, I'm gonna pass. In case I don't have enough money for another go around, my safety net is police academy, which I think I'll be too old, but because I'll be like, what, 26, 27?
I mean, at the end of the day, our safety nets is always just going to be like, you know, they're always hiring at McDonald's. Like, you just got to figure something out.
Yeah.
Like, there's always a safety net of like, there's going to be a job. Like, something will be available. You got to work your ass off to get it. You might have to like work like 60, 80 hours a week to cover the bills. Even if you know, you get through law school and all that shit, like, nothing in future is ever guaranteed. Nothing about your career, nothing about your like future, about life. There is no safety net in life ever. Like, the safety net is just that we are human and we're tenacious and we are just like, we literally can't just stop. We have to find a way to go.
Yeah,
or we
I'm pretty sure there are people in the audience as well that share my same fear.
Because I mean, shit, I get it too.
We all get it.
I was raised differently from the both of you. I was spoiled, and not by choice, because like as amazing as my father is, he doesn't have the emotional capacity to, like, he didn't show me as much love as maybe your parents did, because he wasn't shown much love by my grandparents. So he thought like buying me stuff would be the same as showing me love. And like him being there for me all the time, like he was basically like showing me that like I'll always be here, which isn't the best for your son, but it's like a good dad, I guess, to always be there for your son. So I don't have an actual, like, I've never done anything to a point where I put everything into it and I failed. At least I can't remember if I did. So that's why, like, I don't have the same maybe drive or what's it called? Inspiration as Edward does with YouTube. Because as he sees it as like, this is something that could either blow up or get destroyed. And he said that's okay. For me, if with that mentality, that's terrifying to me, because having something that might get destroyed, all of my time, which, you know, like, time is relative, but like all the time that I put would be for nothing. Maybe you're right, something I have to get out of, and maybe like viewers at home who identify with me and you guys can also get a perspective from what we're talking about. It just yeah.
I mean, it's like you said, like with anything, like you kept saying the word, it's terrifying. And just to reiterate what you said, that's life. Like, that's just how harsh life is. Like, yes, it's scary for everybody. And, you know, obviously, to make a point, I don't think it has anything to do with parent love. I mean, yes, it does matter the way that you were raised, but it also matters if you were disciplined or not. If your dad wasn't there to discipline you, and that's one of the reasons why you don't have, I don't even know if tenacity is the right word, but
I think it's just kind of like follow through during adversity.
It's the discipline of it. It's also like to face the music of it, just to do it. Like, that's pretty much all it is, to do it, to keep consistent with it. And that all comes to like discipline. It's the same with the gym, David. Like, you go to the gym, will it amount to anything? Between you and I, you could probably say no. The only reason you know it will is because you're consistent with it. You know you have to put in a bunch of hard work to maintain yourself at the gym. It's not just going there, working out, and that's it. You have to be on top of your diet. You have to do more than that. You have to sleep well, drink water. Like, that's a lot of fucking work, and that has real world effects. It's the same, you know, with creating any business. It can have real world effects if you put the work into it. If you're afraid of doing anything, and I'm obviously not to say that you literally are, but if you're afraid of doing anything or starting everything because of the fact that you know it might become destructive, and then all of a sudden you lose all of your time, that's just how it is.
And you won't go anywhere.
Well, it's not that you won't go anywhere. Obviously, you can always start it back up. Same with muscles. If you stop working out, they go away. Yes, to some degree, they start breaking down faster, but you have the muscle memory and the blueprint of how to start it up again if you want to. It's basically the same way with a business. You just keep going at it. You just try again. That's just how life is.
Yeah.
No, something else that like low-key has helped me like a little tiny bit, just like a maybe piece of advice. If it helps you, if not, it's fine. I honestly sometimes will set like contradictory goals. Like I'll have a goal, but if it doesn't happen, I'll set like another, like it's a positive goal, but it's like, you know, if this shit breaks down and like I fail, then I am contributing to my goal of like learning to overcome failure. You know what I mean? Like I will set that shit in my mind. And then it's like, I'm a checkbox person, right? I have to make everything into a list or else I can't function. So I make like contradictory lists. So no matter what happens, I can at least check off on something. Granted, it's still gonna fucking suck, but at least I have that little bit of like, you know what? I didn't just lose everything. I at least gained in one direction. I don't know if that would be something to like, it's a mindset thing. Like I trained myself to think like this, but maybe that could help you too. I didn't mean to interrupt anybody, but I wanted to like add that in there before it became less relevant because I thought, you know, maybe it could help.
Well, not to interrupt or interject, but our timer has hit the 20 minutes. So any final thoughts you can provide?
No, I just hope that the audience loved our topics and maybe gained something from our topics aside from like the stocks, because we're not
not financial advisors.
I mean, you keep saying audience, but David, you asked us about opening a business. Did you gain anything from us talking about it?
Oh, 100%. So okay. I'm not like I hate being that guy that says yes and then like maybe falling back into my old like but yeah, but no, I definitely feel a lot more confident from what you guys said.
I mean, I'm happy, right? But we've had these talks before and you have fallen back on it. So in my opinion, I expect you to do the exact same thing. If you don't do that, I'm going to be honestly surprised.
All right.
So there you go. Like there's your motivation right there. Prove me wrong. The fuck?
Yeah. By the way, I sent you the short on Landed Freak.
The what? What?
Email?
You sent an email?
Yeah.
What the fuck? Just send it to me through Discord.
No, I don't have Nitro.
Oh, snap.
Oh, it's that big?
Yeah, it's 93 megabytes.
Damn, buddy's giving me my entire fucking email. Yeah. Yeah, AOL.
I hope
AOL.
that, as David said to our audience, and I hope we had like a productive discussion overall. I felt like, I don't know, I'm always like, I love talking out my ass and like giving advice where I sometimes really don't deserve to, because I to some degree am the same as you, David. Like I will set all these goals and I think I set too many goals for myself, so I fall back on some of them pretty consistently, or like some just get backburnered like kind of permanently while I work on like the pressing things that have deadlines kind of shit.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. It was a little bit of a crazy episode, but I hope y'all enjoyed. Is there anything that you wanted to finish off with, Eddie?
I just wanted to say, and this isn't really mainly for the audience, but I guess David particularly, because obviously the reason we didn't record the last episode was because it was too personal, and I mean it can be argued that we shared personal stuff now. I think the main reason why this is okay is because it wasn't personal to us. Like that wasn't the entirety of it, and not to mention, there wasn't any direction. With this one, we had direction. I don't mind like talking personal, but it's not something that should be on camera. And just to point this out, by the way, the reason like you tried to not argue, but make the argument that, oh, well, you said we're doing this as friends. We literally had a segment at the end, possibly at the end of every episode, where we could share anything we wanted. You didn't want to do that because it was too personal. So to me, that's a bit hypocritical, but I mean, I don't, like I said before, if it's something we should talk personally, it shouldn't be recorded. Like that's all I want to say.
I mean, yeah, it's changed. Like I'm not gonna. I mean, this isn't as personal as like family stuff.
Yeah.
When I meant personal, I meant like, you know, like actually personal. Like this isn't personal. This is like
shit that's gonna get us doxxed.
There we go.
Yeah, I mean, this episode
Let's not do
that. last episode, buddy was name dropping, email dropping, address dropping. It was crazy.
What?
Anyways, thank you guys for joining us on this episode of the Med Podcast. We'll talk to you guys next week. Hopefully you have a great rest of your day. Oh, and happy Veterans Day, of course. Shout out to Pringle.
Woo, happy Veterans Day.
Probably should have talked about that.
We'll talk about it right now. Veterans
community posts. Don't even worry about it.
Man, Pringle,
there you go.
Pringle's a fat bitch, bro. Pringle's going to everywhere for free food.
Dude, you know who showed me his bank account yesterday? Boy, had $10.
It is low.
Anyways, we didn't mean to say that. He has $50.47. All right, guys.
Jesus,
We'll see you guys next week. Have a good one. Goodbye.
Bye.